It is called the Holy Sepulchre. It means the Holy Tomb. For the past 16 centuries, much of Christian Catholicism and Orthodoxy believed Jesus Christ was crucified, interred, and resurrected here. In 320 AD, the first Christian Roman emperor, Constantine, sent his mother Helena to Jerusalem. Helena was the first archaeologist to look for Christ's initial resting place. But as history progressed, competing claims as to where Christ was initially entombed were raised by numerous archaeologists and scholars. For many Protestant and evangelical denominations, it is the Garden Tomb, not the Holy Sepulchre, where is the true initial resting place of Christ. It was declared as Christ's tomb by British General George Gordon in 1882. Competing claims of Christ's tomb is an explosive archaeological and theological issue. And in our time, another controversial claim.
Please unveil the ossuaries of Jesus, son of Joseph, and Mariamne e Mara.
The claim? These boxes stored the bones of Jesus Christ and his wife, Mary Magdalene. Hollywood movie maker James Cameron, the Academy Award-winning director of the film Titanic, produced a documentary broadcast on the Vision television network to prove Jesus existed, his tomb discovered.
Now, I've never doubted that there was a historical Jesus, that he walked the earth 2,000 years ago, but the simple fact is that there's never been a shred of physical, archaeological evidence to support that fact until right now.
In the film, The Lost Tomb of Jesus, Cameron's team makes highly controversial claims. This tomb, they say, contained bone boxes of key biblical figures. Jesus, son of Joseph. Maria, as in the Virgin Mary. Mary Magdalene. Jose and James, the brothers of Christ. And a bone box containing Judah, a son of Jesus. These bone boxes, also known as ossuaries, are kept in the State Storage Facility for Archaeological Artifacts in Israel.
Could this bone box have once held the remains of the son of Jesus and Mary Magdalene?
I think there will certainly be those that will say that we're attempting to in some way undermine Christianity, and that's really, really very far from the case. I think what this find does and what this film does and what this investigation does is it celebrates the real-life existence of these people.
For millions of Christians, especially evangelicals, the claim smells of the same sensationalism that made Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code a mega bestseller and a massive moneymaker. Brown's book portrays Jesus as a man, a lover, and a father. It, however, is a self-declared novel and does not claim to present the truth. James Cameron claims his find is fact, not fiction, and that's what makes it all the more explosive. It challenges the fundamental belief of millions of Christians in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Archaeologists say when you're going to make such a contention, you have to have clear-cut, unbeatable evidence. And in this case, they say the evidence just does not measure up. David Parsons represents the International Christian Embassy Evangelical Movement.
James Cameron came on board. They had money to do this project, thinking it would be a big marketing success like Dan Brown's novel. And yes, there's money to be made in it. For those of us who have had an encounter with Jesus, it's an attempt to undermine or bury Christianity. I've felt that connection with what he suffered for me And to say that he didn't suffer and he died a natural death, I think there's something intentional here of trying to so undermine and discredit our faith without any real scientific basis.
Jesus and Mary.
The Emmy Award-winning director of the film, Simcha Jakubowicz, disagrees.
I didn't make up this tomb. I didn't put their two ossuaries together. I didn't put a little child next to them and call right Judah, son of Jesus. These are hard archaeological facts. If they don't fit with people's theology, I'm not in the theology business, I'm in the reporting business.
But did Jakubowicz report it right? Most archaeologists disagree. In the film, Jakubowicz rediscovers the first-century tomb. It was originally exposed by accident 27 years ago at a Jerusalem construction site.
We found it. We actually found it.
Archaeologist Shimon Gibson had originally extracted those bone boxes from the tomb.
When Jakubowicz was filming, he asked me time and time again, did I think this is the family tomb of Jesus? And my answer was always an emphatic no. I would say that I was a skeptic. I thought that the idea of a family tomb around Jerusalem was an interesting one which scholars actually hadn't dealt with before, but I didn't think that the evidences that came out from the excavation of the Talpiot tomb were convincing enough to me as an archaeologist to sustain the validity of the ideas which he was putting forward. So my answer was always no. The tomb of Jesus, without his body, of course, beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre of today in the old city of Jerusalem is the right spot, based on my researches. I even wrote a book about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre with my colleague Joan Taylor.
Archaeologist Joe Zayas stored those bone boxes just after their discovery.
Because of that Bush thing?
He's very critical of the film portraying the alleged tomb of Jesus.
I've seen a lot of documentaries in my life. I don't think there's a documentary which has angered me as much as this one has. Had they said that this was some type of historical fiction, nobody would care. But the moment you go into the world of science, the world of archaeology, and you do something which intellectually is dishonest as this was, and I can't say it stronger than this, it is one of the most intellectually dishonest documentaries I've ever seen. And it's too bad. And this is, I think, one of the times, you know, in the world of archaeology, we pretty much fight amongst ourselves. This is one of the few times archaeologists have come together to go en masse, to go and make statements that this documentary was something which was just totally, totally intellectually dishonest. The question here is not what they tell you, it's what they don't tell you.
This is what the film does tell you. Simcha Jakubowicz searches the bone box storage facility and comes across the big find.
This is it. Jesus, son of Joseph.
Jesus, son of Joseph.
Jesus, son of Joseph. Amazing is not the word for it.
Good Lord.
Dr. Levi Yitzchak Rachmani is outraged. He is the world's leading expert on these ossuaries. He refused to take part in the camera and film, and this is why. Rachmani shows us a 1931 publication. A Professor Zukenik discovers a different bone box. It's another Jesus, son of Joseph.
And the good professor, in all his innocence, published this ossuary, also big so you could see it. Yeshua bar Yosef, Yeshu.
Jesus, son of Joseph. Could this be the bone box of the true Jesus Christ?
And for Christians, that is how the name Jesus would have been written in that period.
Or is James Cameron and Jakubowicz right when they believe this to be the bone box of Jesus Christ? Or, as millions of Christians would believe, the true Jesus Christ never died as a mortal. Can any of this be proven? For experts, this is a big archaeological landmine. Many questions, but no real answers. For mainstream archaeologists, it's like trying to say which is the coffin of the true John Smith, when there are thousands of John Smiths buried in Canada and America.